Bonjour mes amis, hi guys. For what it's worth, I wanted to share with you a bit my impression about the Vacheron Constantin 222 in steel, which I finally got to try on. It was quite exciting. I am driving right now, so join me here in my car as I'm driving through the upper part of the Hong Kong island to go pick up my son and reflect back on this cool encounter at the little Vacheron boutique here in Hong Kong. The staff is very nice, and I can tell the manager is quite happy to finally have a demand on a model. I think it's going to be quite popular, especially since it comes at a price point that's lower than half what the gold version has reached. It's increased a couple of times. It's quite expensive, I think 65 to 70,000. So yeah, it's a way into the 222 at a lower price point. Having said that, there is a lot of debate about these watches because for once the gold version really has an aura that is very different than the steel with that kind of flat blue dial. And a lot of people still prefer the gold version. Oftentimes with brands like Rolex, new watches will come first in gold, especially if there's a special new movement, lots of R&D into them to try to recoup a bit faster the development costs. And then they come up with the steel, and people prefer the steel. But here, it's quite different. It's the same movement inside, so there's not really any reason there. But still, I guess if they were doing the steel first and then the gold, people would maybe not buy the gold as much. But in this case, even though the steel is here and is more affordable, obviously, the gold keeps its aura, which is great to see for once. I'm guessing the steel, if it comes on the secondary market, if people resell, you might see prices higher than the retail, which is already quite high, above 30,000 US for a very simple watch. And it might actually intersect the price of the gold version, which is probably trading below the high retail now. So it would be funny to see people trading out of the gold for the steel. I don't think it would be very wise, and I think people who have the gold don't feel like they are shortchanged, like they're missing out. I think it's still the one to have, the more beautiful one. If you have it, just keep it and enjoy it for sure. So how do I feel about the steel? Well, I have to say it's very demure, very there's not that much to it. It feels very light, surprisingly light, almost as if it was titanium. So it's very slim. As I said, same movement. People say it's a bit underpowered. It's not really a sporty movement. It's more like the movement that could fit a slim case. As I remember from my encounter with the gold version, the winding is a bit coarse, and the rotor was quite noisy. I can't really attest to it because the steel one that I saw is under plastic, which also masks a bit the beauty of the finishing. The finishing itself doesn't seem to pop as much as on the gold version on those watches. You're really paying a lot for the quality of the brushing and the polishing. There's not a lot of details on this one. The bracelet is almost all vertically brushed with the little bevel on the side that is polished. Pretty similar to what they do on the Royal Oak. What's really special about this watch, the other thing that really strikes me after the weight, is that because it's not very wide, it's only 37 millimeter at its widest diameter, it doesn't taper a lot, so it's very much a cuff, the same way as the Royal Oak, but maybe even more so. So you have to be willing to wear more cuff than a pure watch. The bezel has a bit of visual to it, the way it is sculpted. And you have at the bottom right there the signature, which is in yellow gold. The dial, very simple, straight baton hands, simple indices. Everything is very simple. So when you look at the dial, again, very demure, very straightforward. It kind of feels a bit Seiko-ish, There's not much to it, to be honest. And that's also the attraction to it. It's stealth wealth, as you could say, because it's very expensive. And that's the whole point of it. But it's also maybe why the original version in the late 70s was not produced in many numbers. Maybe it was not that much in demand. I suppose it wasn't a success that the Nautilus and the Royal Oak were. And but now it's back. It's a different time and a different market. I think if it had come out back out 10 years ago, it wouldn't be nobody would really care all that much. But now it is what people want: the integrated bracelet, also a smaller watch. And there's the market to spend 30 grand on something fairly simple with no complication at all. So there you go. Slightly underwhelming, but at the same time, I insist, I think it's the point of the watch, and it's just a beautiful design. Price point, I think, again, if it was 10 years ago, it's a watch that would come out at $20,000 and trade at 15, 16, most likely. Here, probably going to keep a good value. But I have to put this one in comparison to, the one that succeeded the original one, the Overseas and the Gen 3. While the simple Gen 3 time only is still a fairly big watch, the ultra thin, which right now is not made as a time only, the ultra thin perpetual calendar is immediately catching the attention. On the wrist, it's amazing. It's substantial, yet yet slim. Beautiful dial, beautiful bracelet. And that's a bit why there was no really need for Vacheron in their continuity to recreate the 222. But the market being the market, there's the demand, and they did it. And as I always say, would you prefer that they didn't do it? I'd rather them to do it, and then the market will decide what they want to do with it. But it's a bit in competition with the ultra-thin perpetual, which is much more expensive. They only come in precious metals so far, with the prestigious complication, which is not my favorite complication. It's nice to look at, but it's a bit of a pain, especially since you have to adjust with the little pushers. God bless AP for coming with a new perpetual this year on the Royal Oak, adjusted fully through the crown. If it works well and is durable, then I think it's wonderful, and it's about time, because so many complications have not evolved for the past 100 years, basically. So it's about time that something feels a bit more modern, and it has to be bulletproof, being able to go forward and back. So well done, AP, on bringing that. But yes, that Overseas ultra thin is gorgeous, in white gold, in rose gold, whether it's a full dial or the skeletonized dial, and you feel more. I feel more attracted to those watches than to the 222 in steel, and I think the 222 in gold is in between in terms of the pricing and my overall attraction to it. When you pay so much, you kind of want to have a bit of extra, and here I feel like you're paying more to have less, which it's a bit how it is these days, paying more for less. But there you go. Those are my first impressions. It was very cool anyway to have a good reason to go to the Vacheron boutique. I was there to get a strap. Very nice welcome over there. So if you want to go check out the watch, maybe they have one to show you. They're very happy to have something that people want, because the market maybe is a bit slower, and the retail prices are fairly high for the Richemont group. So there you go. Let me know what you think about the watch, and maybe if you would like to see a different dial. A lot of people wanted to have a monochromatic dial on the steel version as well. That's a good idea, but I do like the blue as well. It's always very popular, and it's good for them to start with a popular color rather than start with the black and then come with the blue 2 years later when people have bought the black one. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this little review, quick review of the watch. I only had a few minutes with it, and this drive through the streets of Hong Kong. Bye-bye.